What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I've got another AMC update to bring all of you this afternoon. So what we're going to be covering in this update is we're going to be taking a look at, just like we always do, the Ortex short interest and utilization data to get a better understanding of where we are at in terms of the short squeeze side of this investment going into next week. Now, in addition to thinking about next week, we also have to take a brief look at the option chain, because this past week, we did see a little bit of a gamma squeeze with that market maker delta hedging towards the end of the week, and we are setting up for the possibility of something similar happening next week. Now, again, when we think about the option chain, we won in a very big way this week. We did hurt the option sellers and these market makers, and that is something that I want to cover with you guys. Now, in addition to this, there have been a lot of alerts, screenshots, notifications going around from Webull that are basically saying that AMC has been downgraded by a variety of different companies. Now, we're going to take a look at exactly when these downgrades actually happened. And at this point, when we take a look at these weird glitches, they can only happen so many times before we can't really consider them glitches or mistakes anymore. I feel like we're seeing these types of things happen almost every other week. And at this point, they're definitely something that we need to take a deeper look at. Now, one of the really big things that we need to take a look at as well is this situation surrounding Goldman Sachs. In Q2, they liquidated a significant portion of their equity portfolios, and they did it again in Q3, but on a much, much larger scale. And that says a lot about what they think about their future outlook of the overall market going into the end of the year. So before we get into all of that information, if you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provide for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And the more people that we have staying up to date on accurate AMC information, the stronger our community becomes. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So on Friday, we closed during the day at $40.74. But look what they tried to do in the after hours. This was honestly comical. I saw some Twitter notifications going out that were saying AMC is dropping in the after hours significantly. And when you see what happened here, they were aggressively trying to get us below that $40 mark. Now, we did see 30,000 contracts at that $40 strike price. So it's possible that these market makers really wanted to push the share price down in the after hours. But as we can see here, this dip just got bought right back up, and we closed that after hours trading period at $40.15. Again, another big win for the ape community. Now, when we come over to the Ortex update, we can see the utilization is climbing up a little bit, 87.61%, but again, not enough to really put enough pressure on these lending institutions. As we say in every single video, we're going to need to see the utilization above 95, 98, 99 in order to get that forced share recall potential. But we are still seeing this estimated short interest at a pretty high number, 17.51%. And remember, these numbers are just estimates from Ortex. They could be wrong. They could be slightly inaccurate. And Ortex is only getting their information from about 85% of the total market. So you got to take these numbers with a grain of salt. And I really just look at the trends in all of these numbers. But again, what this does show us is that the shorts have not covered. Now, when we come over to Stonko Tracker to take a look at the options going into next week, so typically, the week after we see a monthly options expiration date, we would expect that option chain to look sort of like this October 29th date right here. But going into next week, there's already 127,000 contracts out of the money and 17,588 contracts in the money. Now, there is a decent amount of open interest on this option chain. And as we know, there is always going to be people that are going to be gambling on those weeklies. And just again, a quick disclaimer about options. I personally never trade options with an amount that I am not fully willing to lose, and especially on a volatile stock like AMC, it is entirely possible that you are going to lose all of your money if you are gambling on these weeklies. So just be very careful. But when we come over to this page right here, this is going to be tracking the Max Pay. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen AMC trade right around this Max Pay number, that $39 mark. Now, it does fluctuate a little bit. It's really been between 37 and 39, but almost every single week over the last month, we've finished the trading week right around that max paying price. This week, very, very different. This is a very big win for everybody, and I think everybody should really be happy about what we have seen over this last week, and I don't think this run is going to be over anytime soon. We do have that big catalyst coming up for AMC's earnings, and since a lot of people are expecting AMC to really put out great numbers, I think it's very possible that we do see a decent sized earnings run up going into that earnings day in the beginning of November. Now, let's get into this situation surrounding these potential downgrades that AMC has received or not received. So a lot of people have been pointing out that they have been getting notifications from Webull that AMC has been downgraded. So this one right here, AMC Entertainment, MKM Partners downgrades AMC Entertainment to sell. Loop Capital downgrades AMC Entertainment to sell, announces $1 price target. So when we come over here, theater chain AMC shares down as Loop Capital sees potential bankruptcy. But do you know when this came out? April 8th, 2020. These are very, very old notifications. Then when we come over to this MKM one, we can see here that MKM Partners downgrades AMC Entertainment to sell with a $1 price target, but this was February of 2021. So this really has no bearing on what is happening right now with AMC. And again, this is another thing that we have to think about, that how many times are we going to see these glitches or mistakes where we have to actually start considering that there is something else going on behind the scenes, maybe to potentially scare investors that have their hard-earned money in AMC at the current time? We see a couple of other of these as well. Hearing RBC says deadline, Hollywood reported AMC will stop paying rent. Again, this is very old. And then we have AMC Entertainment reports will reopen Odeon cinemas in Oslo, Norway. All of these notifications are from months ago. Now, we got to talk about this Goldman Sachs situation in which they've liquidated a significant amount of their portfolio. So Goldman lost $820 million trading stocks in Q2 as it quietly liquidated billions in equities, while most analysts and traders were digging through Goldman's Q3 earnings report and focusing on the investment banking and markets results, all of which came in stellar, especially on the banking advisory side and equity trading. There was something odd in the bank's asset management division, formerly known as Goldman Prop. Here, after a stellar Q2 in which Goldman generated a record $5.132 billion, more than double $2.1 billion in Q2 of 2020, and driven by significantly higher net gains from investments in private equities driven by company-specific events, including capital raises and sales, Q3 saw a dramatic drop in net revenues, which shrank to just $2.79 billion, a whopping 56% drop from Q2, and down even compared to Q3 2020, with revenue from equity investment plunging to just $935 million, down from about $3.7 billion the previous quarter. Now, we can see here that, significant losses from investments in public stocks in Q3, a quarter in which the S&P barely had any dips and only neared a 5% drawdown towards the end on September 30th. That is a very interesting mark right there. So what we're seeing is that we knew that Goldman Sachs basically liquidated a quarter of their equity portfolio in Q2, and what we're looking at here is they most likely went short in Q3 if they are taking these losses. But what we can see down here is fast forward to today when the infamous harvesting, meaning a bunch of liquidations and sales, slide is back with some adjustments. First, Goldman no longer uses the year-end 20 as the starting point for its asset sales bridge, and instead has picked the year-end 2019 as the starting reference. Back then, the bank had some $22 billion in equity investments, $2 billion more than the $20 billion at the year-end 2020. What we find next is that unlike last quarter, when the bank showed it sold a whopping $5.5 billion in stocks in the first half of 2021, excluding that $1.5 billion in purchases, this time the bank went even bolder and sold a total of $16 billion of its assets. And the net amount was $11 billion in sales. That is definitely something that we need to take a look at and keep our eye on, because if these large institutions are liquidating their portfolios, what does that say about their overall basically consensus and sentiment of where the market is going to go in the near future. We know we have tapering. We know we're going to have to deal with the debt ceiling coming back up again in December. But what else is Goldman Sachs seeing that we as retail investors are not? They obviously have a lot more information than we do. And the fact that Goldman has been so successful over many years and now they are deciding to liquidate their portfolios is very, very suspicious. So we're going to have to see where this takes us over the next couple of months. But we're seeing that a lot of these big banks are very bearish on the market going forward, even though they're announcing pretty solid earnings. So that is going to wrap up this update on AMC. If you enjoyed the information and analysis that I provided for you in this video, make sure you go down and hit that like button. It costs you nothing to do it, but it really helps us out a whole lot in getting this information out to as many people who want to learn. And if you guys want to see more videos like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button and turn on that notification bell so you're notified every time I post a new video, so you get to stay up to date on all of your favorite stocks, learn about a couple of new ones, and see exactly which options I am trading and which strategies I am using to trade them. So I hope you guys are having a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.